This is CBC Here and Now.
We want to see action.
The City of St. John's has signed a declaration to support Indigenous people. Coming up on Here and Now.
We're not going to flatten it and put up condos. We're not going to do something nasty with it. And quite frankly, look, after we won the Kelly Cup in 2019, there was nothing in the building for about 4 months. It's not being used for its intended purposes.
Well, this man wants to buy Mile 1 and give it a $25 million makeover. What does the city think?
He was proud to finish his grade 12 and to be able to move on and join the Navy. And that was taken from him because of the drug problem in this town.
A protest outside the courthouse in Clarenville. They say their community is in crisis. Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Carolyn Stokes.
And I'm Anthony Germain.
Well, yesterday's throne speech promised that the federal government will work towards what's called an Atlantic loop that could find new buyers for Labrador Power. Here Now's Peter Cowan joins us live with more. So, Peter, what are we talking about when we hear the Atlantic loop?
Carolyn, very different from the Trinity Loop. And what we're talking about here is really more a general idea than it is a concrete plan. Let me give you the basics of what they're talking about here. The idea is that right now the Maritimes burns a lot of coal to generate electricity, and at the same time Muskrat Falls produces extra energy. So the Atlantic Loop would build power lines through Quebec to bring in hydroelectricity and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. How long would this take? What would it cost? All of that is still trying to be figured out.
I've been working with provincial ministers on this for quite some time. We've been working with Quebec and with maritime energy ministers on this, and there is a great deal of enthusiasm for the Atlantic Loop.
The big question is, what does this mean for Muskrat Falls? Would this mean more money to pay down the more than $13 billion this province has spent? Well, it's too early. Could this lead to the development of Gull Island? It's possible. The Premier today didn't have any further details, telling reporters he heard about it in yesterday's throne speech just like everyone else.
Well, I think it was exciting to hear that it was discussed in the speech from the throne yesterday, and I look forward to having those discussions with the federal government. Hopefully we can, this is what I've always said, that there is value to be had in Muskrat Falls and we need to unlock it.
Now, the key question in all of this is, what does Quebec think? In the past, Newfoundland and Labrador has blamed Quebec for blocking power, which is why for Muskrat Falls they built the Maritime Link to send power to Nova Scotia through Newfoundland. So far, we haven't heard from the Quebec Premier about whether or not he's on board. Carolyn?
That's Here Now's Peter Cowan reporting live. Well, now to another energy story. They're calling it a made in Newfoundland and Labrador solution, though one politician hopes they'll never have to use it. It's a new offshore exploration initiative, and in these uncertain times, the goal is to encourage oil companies to keep searching for that next big discovery. Terry Roberts reports.
It's getting harder to spot a rig like this in our offshore. The pandemic has forced oil producers to batten down the hatches, and that's jeopardizing the more than $4 billion in exploration commitments made over the last 6 years. So the provincial government is taking action.
If there's no exploration, there are no finds. If there are no finds, we have no development, and that's the thing that we need for this future.
So here's how this works. When an oil company commits money to exploring a block of land in the offshore, it must pay a 25% security deposit to the Offshore Petroleum Board. So the board is now in possession of $1 billion from oil giants like ExxonMobil and Equinor. Companies have 6 years to make good on those commitments and can get an extension by up to 2 years by paying a penalty. But if the work is not done, those big payments are not refunded. In the past, up to 40% of deposits have been forfeited, and in today's climate, that figure could grow. It's conceivable that up to $46 million in security payments could become available next year alone. So the province plans to use that money as bait to encourage companies to explore by offering a rebate without any risk to our already fragile public treasury.
And what we believe it will do is incentivize exploration. So it'll incentivize drillers, rig workers. It'll incentivize companies to go back out and explore.
This is mutually beneficial to the operators, to the province, and more importantly, to the people of this province, including the workers.
It's in response to scenes like this: an oil industry in crisis, workers losing their jobs. So far, similar pleas to the federal government have gone unanswered.
This is a lever at our fingertips that we need to pull.
It's just what the oil industry wanted to hear.
Exploration wells put a lot of people to work in a short period of time. Each $100 million well brings with it 400 workers, but it's the discoveries that bring the long-term sustainability of our industry.
The fine print is still being finalized, but with a new oil resource assessment about to be released and another land sale coming up in November, government wanted to send a signal. It's open for business.
We needed this incentive out to these companies now who are literally in the process of deciding where, are they going to be exploring.
We have, some exploration rigs here that may be leaving our waters, so the sooner the parameters can get out, the better, so that we can see how effective this will be.
But the province hopes it will never have to use these incentives, because if deposits are being forfeited, that means exploration is not being done. Terry Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
It was a little bit of a cloudy start to the day across the province. However, once that sun came out, a beautiful afternoon, still very much a beautiful evening. Although it is a little bit windy this evening, we are looking at gusts continuing for some of us as we head through the overnight tonight. Teddy has now moved offshore, but we are still seeing these winds, and a ridge of high pressure is going to skirt south of us over the next couple of days, which will keep these winds pretty gusty. But I'll have all those details. We'll break that down and the potential to see some warm temperatures as we head towards the end of September. I'll have all those details coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. To other news now, a driving examiner accused of soliciting bribes from immigrant drivers is going to serve 5 months house arrest in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Police busted Scott Norman in an undercover sting. He told an undercover officer it was going to cost him $250 to pass the exam. When police arrested Norman, he tried to claim that the cash was his, but officers matched the serial numbers to the money handed over by the undercover agent who paid. Well, today the judge said Norman was remorseful and not likely to reoffend. He had worked as a driving examiner for nearly 1 decade. Well, the jury heard final arguments today in Doug Snellgrove's sexual assault case. The Royal Newfoundland Constabulary officer will soon find out if he's been found guilty or whether, once again, he's free to go. Malone Mullen reports.
Defense counsel said it firmly. It was a stupid thing he did, but it wasn't a crime. Randy Piercy is defending Doug Snellgrove against the charge that he sexually assaulted a young woman one night in 2014. He told the jury she was sober enough to give him directions and climb through a basement window. That means she was also sober enough for consensual sex. The complainant says she was so drunk she can't remember saying or showing that she wanted to have sex with the officer. An expert witness called by defense says people can black out and still seem wide awake and engaged, and that could have been what happened with the complainant. But the Crown isn't relying on how drunk she was. Instead, it's scrutinizing the nature of Snellgrove's job. The RNC constable testified he was on duty when they had sex, was in uniform, and had been driving her home from the club in his police car in an act of kindness. Too drunk or not, both lawyers agreed. Snellgrove is in a position of authority, but they disagree about whether he abused that authority, which would violate consent. Defense says simply being a cop isn't enough to convict. Prosecution must show intent to use that built-in trust to his advantage. The Crown, on the other hand, paints a picture of a cop who was, at best, willfully blind and reckless, with a vulnerable young woman in his care who should have known the power imbalance between them was enough to make consent impossible. That is for the jury to decide. This afternoon they were sent off to deliberate behind closed doors. That jury, unlike the last one which acquitted Snellgrove, has been instructed to consider authority before they reach a verdict. Malone Mullen, CBC News, St. John's.
The police are expecting to make multiple arrests in connection with a $1.4 million drug bust. Officers seized 3.5 kilos of cocaine Monday, about 20 minutes outside of Gambo near Hare Bay and Dover. The investigation was carried out by the RCMP Federal Serious and Organized Crime Unit and the Gander Detachment. They stopped a truck with Ontario license plates and found the drugs hidden. Police then searched a house and found about $100,000 in cash. Police say that investigation is ongoing. Well, police had to intervene today when a fight broke out outside the Clarenville courthouse. The incident, caught by our CBC camera, it happened at around 11:30. Tensions spilled over during a protest that was organized by a grieving father. Now, we introduced you to Jeff Butt last month on Here Now. Butt lost his 19-year-old son Lucas in April to a drug overdose, and he says drug dealers in the community face little legal consequences. He's calling for tougher enforcement and harsher penalties. Here Now's Garrett Barry was there.
I'm here today to get justice for my son. My main goal is to have people held accountable for my son dying.
Start drug enforcement in this town. Don't ignore it any longer.
I know who's responsible. I know where the drugs come from. I know who didn't call for help. I know who is responsible for helping those people cover up what happened. And the people that provided the drugs that ended up in the system, they need to be charged with manslaughter. My son was there for 18 hours with no call for help, and he was long gone before any help arrived. And then after that, the people that was there took my son's phone, passed it over to a drug dealer, and they started deleting information out of it to hide what happened to him. His final moments was probably pretty rough. I have nightmares that my son probably knew there was something wrong with him, but he couldn't respond, couldn't tell anybody that he was in distress. But it's obvious that people knew he was in distress. In his last minutes, he probably knew that he was in serious trouble, but he couldn't respond to ask for help or anything. And yet, for all, the person that was there just left him and didn't call for help. Nobody can escape it here. You either got friends or family that's involved with it, and people overdosing all the time, and the crime rate here is a lot more hard than what it should be because of the drug problem. And again, it all goes back to no drug enforcement. And they need to start doing drug enforcement in this town before more people die, and make those people held accountable and start charging those drug dealers with manslaughter.
Throw it at him. Charge him. Charge him. He just picked up a weapon. Intimidation using a weapon. Intimidation using a weapon. Charge him.
Well, we're all really sad, obviously, but there's also a lot of anger because it's been 5 months and almost nothing has been done about this, and it's just really hard seeing all of us out here and hardly anything being done about it. And we all lost a very important person to all of us. He was very important, and he had the kindest soul. He was the nicest person, and what happened to him isn't right, and there needs to be justice served for it.
Picking up a rock to throw at you.
He was doing excellent. He was doing good, and he was proud to finish his grade 12 and to be able to move on and join the Navy. And that was taken from him because of the drug problem in this town. I'll never get to see him. I'll never get to see him accomplish what he wanted to do. And it's heart-wrenching.
Difficult story. Garrett Barry put that story together. To other news now. Businessman Dean McDonald wants to privatize Mile 1 Centre and give the stadium a $25 million makeover. It's something the City of St. John's isn't ruling out. They've even hired a consultant for advice. Here Now's Heather Gillis has more.
Dean McDonald has big plans to revamp Mile 1 Centre in downtown St. John's. He wants to pump $25 million into the arena, adding 2 theaters, an esports arena, a sound recording studio, increase the size and availability of concessions, and build a 2-story sports bar.
We want to make a substantial investment in the building to make it work for what its intended purpose and use was, because it's generally closed all the time.
McDonald calls Mile 1 an economic burden on the city since it's poured millions of dollars into subsidies, spending $3.4 million on St. John's sports and entertainment in 2019 alone. He says he can make it profitable.
You have to drive revenue. We also feel that we can manage it in a more efficient fashion than it has been managed.
But McDonald can't say how much he'll pay to take Mile 1 off the city's hands.
It has to be fair. That's the ultimate point. So there's no steals here. We're not looking to get it for nothing.
St. John City Councillor Jamie Korab, who's the chair of St. John Sports and Entertainment, won't rule out a sale to Dean McDonald. However, he says it has to go through a fair process.
The public has made it pretty clear that they want us, this is something they want us to consider.
The city has hired consultants KPMG to help assess the possible privatization of Mile 1. Korab says that process should include competitive bidding and public consultations.
We need to open it up, get the process in place, and then we'll see if there's other people interested in purchasing and privatizing Mile 1.
Still, Korab says Mile 1 generates an economic benefit despite the subsidies. He said after the city hosted the Briar in 2017, there was an economic impact of $10 million in the province. Mile 1 has been empty since March because of the pandemic, but McDonald believes there's no better time to buy it and renovate it.
Well, that's actually the best time to do it because it's not open.
Heather Gillis, CBC News, St. John's.
A declaration was signed today in St. John's promising to better support and include the city's growing Indigenous community, one of the fastest growing communities in Canada. It happened at First Light, a community group which serves the urban Indigenous population. Here Now's Mark Quinn was there.
Members of the Indigenous community looked on as Mayor Danny Breen signed the declaration. Stacey House is with First Voice, the coalition that initiated it. House says the relationship between Indigenous people, the municipal, provincial, and federal governments must continue to change.
We do have a long history of colonization and, historic systemic violence, and it really needs to work towards overcoming the disparities that currently still exist between Indigenous people and non-Indigenous people.
City councillors worked with First Voice to make today's event happen.
Like every other city in Canada, we have to grapple with a lot in our past. We have to decolonize our institutions, we have to indigenize our institutions, and make sure that we move forward in a spirit of truth and reconciliation.
First Light, First Voice, and the city say the declaration is a bridge, important words that must be followed by real action.
We want a commitment to advance the rights of Indigenous people in the city and in this province. And, we want not only a commitment of words, but we want to see action.
For some, the very admission by municipal leaders that racism is a problem is a real change.
I think the results are starting to show themselves now. We've developed a very positive working relationship. The organization has been involved in our inclusivity committee, been included in the work that we're doing to deal with racism.
The provincial capital has one of the fastest growing urban Indigenous communities in Canada. It's increased 200% since the last federal census to include almost 7,000 people. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, food from Dominion stores here on the Avalon is being shipped to the most northern town in the province. Susan Onalik lives in St. John's but was born in Labrador. She's accumulated more than 2,300 pounds of food so far, and she's sending it all to Nain. The CBC's Meg Roberts caught up with her as she was sending off her first shipment.
So me and Eddie are here packing up the rest of this. So thank you so much, everybody, for your help. A whole bunch of us have gotten together. There was an awesome donation, a hookup from the Jimmy Pratt Foundation, and they were able to access some of the Dominion foods since they've been on strike. So we were able to access some of that to ship to Nain Community Freezer. We all had the conversation about, wouldn't it be great if a lot of this could make it to Nain? It seemed like a daunting task. The cost of shipping to Nain is a lot. And, so I decided to, I'm going to try and take it on and find some connections and knock on some doors and make some phone calls and get this done. And thankfully, Philip Earle from Air Borealis and Peter Noseworthy from Provincial Airlines have generously donated a shipment going to Nain from St. John's free of charge. Now we do have another load of this size ready to come back. The pack of chicken, $8.06. It's unreal. The food cost of food in Maine is a lot. Some of the meat that we were packing up, we're looking at packs of chicken we pay $8, $9 for. By the time that makes it to the shelves in Maine, it's probably triple or even more. The price of that is through the roof, and it makes it hard for a lot of people. And so being able to do this, I think it makes me feel good. I know the community in Maine has, they're always there to help others, and this was a way, that I could give back. There's a lot of great volunteers up there and hard workers that once this food gets into Maine, they will be able to distribute it to those in need or those who can't make it out to stock up and get some food shipped in. I know the traveling is difficult, and so I think that it will certainly help a lot of families.
Well, you can't get much for $1 these days, but one local company scored 12 acres of land for that price. Coming up, Adam Walsh will tell us about the controversial project in CBS.
There's a live look at the room's camera looking over the Narrows. They're a beautiful evening. Leaves are starting to change. I noticed that today, but as we head through the next couple of, at least a week, it's going to feel very summer-like. I'll have all those details coming up.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, what can you get for $1 these days? A cup of coffee, a stamp, an extra squirt of butter on your popcorn? Well, how about 12 acres of land to build a wharf and a cold storage facility in Conception Bay South? Last week, we told you about a proposal from Ocean Choice International to infill part of Long Pond Harbor. The company wants to infill 4 of the 12 acres to create a new plot of land in the middle of the harbor. Now, CBC News has learned new details about that controversial project and the bargain basement price it paid for land owned by the Long Pond Harbor Authority. Our Adam Walsh has been on this story. So Adam, did it really cost just $1 to buy that plot of land?
Carolyn, that's the price we found in publicly available documents, but there's a caveat to that, and I'll get to that in a moment. But I should say first that this is a transaction that took place in 2018 between OCI and the Harbor Authority. The plot of land is called a water lot. It's in the middle of the harbor, and that's what was sold to OCI. So the records show the land sold to OCI for $1 and, quote, other good and valuable consideration. And I will say that the Port Authority, when it comes to why they sold the land, they say it's because it was deemed unusable because the water in that area is shallow.
Okay, so people in the area have been quite vocal about this. One person took you out in their boat to talk about their concerns going forward with this proposal. What more are you hearing from people about this?
Well, Carolyn, there's no shortage of concerns with this. Like you said, I was out on a boat tour, and I was on a call for the Port Authority's AGM the other night, so it was a Zoom call, and it didn't go over well with the residents, that part about the land or the water lot in that area being unusable, because simply put, people in that area, they use that water. It was brought up that on weekends, that part of the port is used by up to hundreds of people, especially if the food fishery is on the go, because people use it to launch their boats. And as we've covered on the show, people have been speaking out because they want more transparency. They've got a slew of concerns about the project. There's flooding concerns, environmental concerns, and the fact that the development will completely change the harbor as it is.
Okay, and have any of those concerns been addressed?
Yes, there's no shortage of communication going on, so I guess you could say it's the start of addressing the concerns. The town has started a web page which is devoted to updates on the project now. OCI has sent around a PowerPoint-style presentation, and I got a copy of it, and it shows sample renderings of the project and explains what operations would be like. It also mentions that artificial reefs will be built in CBS to compensate, so they're going to build artificial reefs in another area to make up for that. The PowerPoint presentation also says, communication with people is ongoing, they want to continue it, and it lists community benefits. $15 million is the worth of the project that they're saying, and 30 jobs with also other types of economic spillover. The whole point of this is to get people on board to say OCI is in this community and they want to develop something with the community. Well, speaking of communities, a community group has formed, and it calls itself Advocates for the Responsible Development of Long Pond. Last off, their Facebook page has over 500 members. They want public consultation with everyone, so OCI, the Harbor Authority, the town, and then anyone else who has a concern. But then this group also wants an environmental assessment. And Carolyn, the thing with this is that right now it doesn't meet the bar for a provincial environmental assessment. So there's a big question mark. It remains to be seen whether or not anything can be done to get this second demand by the community group.
Wow, there's a lot to the story and so much more to come for sure. Thank you so much, Adam, for breaking it down for us.
This weather forecast is brought to you by Newfoundland and Labrador Tourism. Take the time to explore this fall. Learn more at stayhomeyear.ca.
A little bit earlier, I mentioned how beautiful temperatures were this afternoon, flirted with the 20-degree mark for most areas through central, Terra Nova, Gander, and Badger. Otherwise, we're seeing temperatures in the high teens this afternoon, and then a little chillier up through Labrador, still into reaching the double digits, though, for Happy Valley, Goose Bay, 12 degrees. However, still sitting in those single digits for Labrador. That's where you're sitting right now as well, down to 7 degrees for Lab City, and those temperatures into the teens. So beautiful evening so far. And what we have is the remnants of Teddy heading offshore, and we're still seeing those gusty winds, but plenty of sunshine on this afternoon. And if we zoom in, you can see not a whole lot happening on the satellite and or radar. And then why we're seeing those cooler temperatures, because we've got an area of low pressure over northern Quebec, and that's bringing in some of that colder air filtering down through parts of Labrador. Now, as we head through the overnight tonight, not a whole lot happening. We are looking at the potential for a few showers, though, along the west coast as well as the south coast. Otherwise, just partly to mostly cloudy skies tonight. But for Labrador, as we hang into some of those cooler temperatures, we are looking at that potential for some flurries, and that will generally continue as we head into the early morning hours. And the winds will eventually ease as we head in for mainly the eastern portions of the island. Temperatures overnight tonight in St. John's about 12 degrees. These winds will be out of the west, but they will pick up again along the west coast. So you're looking at gusts anywhere from 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. That potential for flurries sticking around as you hover around the 1 degree mark for Lab City, and then other than that, just partly to mostly cloudy skies for Labrador. But again, those winds will stay breezy. So tomorrow, we do have an area of high pressure skirting south of us. Those winds are going to ramp up again. It's going to tighten that gradient of those isobars, and the tighter they are, the stronger the wind. So we're looking at that tomorrow afternoon. But other than that, maybe a few cloudy periods on the west coast, not a whole lot of weather to speak of. We should see plenty of sunshine through the day, but it is unsettled up through Labrador. So you're still looking at that potential for some flurries in the first half of the day, and then some showers as we head towards the evening hours, certainly along the coastal areas. But temperatures will be beautiful again. However, we are in a little bit of that onshore flow here, so temperatures a little bit cooler along the west coast. Again, those winds upwards of about 60 kilometers per hour. And then as you head a little bit further east, those temperatures flirting with the mid to high teens. About 17 degrees is what we should reach in St. John's, and then 3 degrees for Lab City, with temperatures in the teens for southeastern portions of Labrador. Now, looking ahead into Saturday, temperatures will be beautiful yet again, 16 to 18 degrees with plenty of sunshine across the board. Some warmer temperatures moving in, relatively speaking, for Lab City. About 8 degrees will be your afternoon high. And then even into Sunday, though, those temperatures will start to climb even more so. However, things are going to be a little bit more unsettled for the Big Land. You're looking at the potential for some showers, even some flurries for Nain. And then across the island, those temperatures starting to get nice and mild. 21 degrees for St. John's. We're looking at about 21 for Grand Falls, Windsor, as well as Corner Brook. You're sitting around the 22 degree mark, but we are looking at that potential for some showers. Now, as we look forward, talked about this yesterday, there's pretty good agreement now that we are going to see this set up over the next couple of days, and that is where the jet stream is. So we're going to see that big deep trough in place and allowing that ridging to move over us, and that's going to bring all of that warmth and continue starting Sunday. I showed you those temperatures in the 20s. That's going to continue through Tuesday into Wednesday, and even into the beginning of next week is what we're going to see some of those, or the end of next week rather, the first week of October. The other thing that we'll notice is that the humidity is going to return with that jet stream pulling all of that moisture up through the south. By Tuesday, we'll start to note a little bit of humidity, even more so as we head through Wednesday and into Thursday, with some humidex values and some of the models pointing at nearing the 30 mark. So it is going to feel quite summer-like for sure over the next couple of days. Here's where we'll be sitting temperature-wise, into the 20s. Again, pretty quiet weather, maybe a few showers on Monday, but overall we are looking at a fairly nice stretch of weather, certainly for central Newfoundland, into the mid 20s as we head into the middle of next week, again with that return of that humidity. Overnight lows in the mid to high teens is where we should be sitting as our daytime highs. And then for eastern Labrador, whether you see these warmer temperatures on Monday or Tuesdays is a little bit up for debate at this point, but you will see a warm up for sure. And then western Labrador, it's looking a little bit rainy through Tuesday. However, your temperatures will be sitting in the teens. I wanted to share this beautiful shot just before I leave you. Sun setting in Cavendish on a calm evening. Thank you to Tim Knoll for sending that in. If you have any photos to share with us, send to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Local businesses can rely on cleverness to get customers through their doors, but what if your customers are in Canada suffering through the second wave? Stay tuned. The Prime Minister made it very clear last night the Atlantic bubble is going to be here for quite some time.
In our 4 biggest provinces, the second wave isn't just starting, it's already underway. We're on the brink of a fall that could be much worse than the spring. Together, we have the power to get this second wave under control. I know we can do it because we've already done it once before. In the spring, we all did our part by staying home. And this fall, we have even more tools in the toolbox.
While the rest of Canada deals with a surge of COVID-19, we're doing quite well here, but that raises some questions because a lot of Canadians can't easily get here. Kathy Duke is the CEO of Destination St. John's. So, Ms. Duke, what's your sense of just what the implications of having this bubble go on will be?
Well, you know, Anthony, there's just been a catastrophic impact on the tourism industry, not only here in Newfoundland and Labrador, but really internationally. And we're still struggling very much with travel restrictions and also with consumer confidence in terms of whether people will travel or not. So, you know, a lot of companies managed to get through the summer, and we're just about to launch a fall campaign to get more staycation and maybe some other Atlantic Canadians coming here. But it's going to be really tough for businesses to see their way into 2021. We're really worried about that.
Now, one example of this has to do with a tax on accommodations, I understand.
That's
actually,
right.
Some of the money raised from that tax is supposed to help pay for this brand new convention center.
Yes.
Can you tell me about that tax? Because I think it's very telling.
Absolutely. So the accommodation tax is paid by visitors who stay in our hotels here in the city. And the revenues that come in through the hotels goes to the city. And those revenues are shared between the city to service the debt on the convention center and actually to fund our organization, Destination St. John's, to sell and market the city. And I think you heard the mayor say that when expecting maybe $3.2 million this year, you know, we may see 200,000 or 300,000. So it's really very significant.
Almost $3 million short of what we expect. So how do we get through this? I mean, you know, Destination St. John's, in some ways, it's self-isolation St. John's. If you're from Ontario or another province, you got to stay here for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What's the solution?
That's right. Well, I think the first thing is that we have to, I was really happy to see some of the things that were announced last night in terms of the federal government's response, and I think the 75% wage subsidy that will now go until perhaps September is wonderful. But I think the main thing that we have to understand is that we will get through this. Travel will return, people will travel, we've just got to get through that. So I think we have to be really careful not to send the message out there that we're closed for business forever. It almost sounds that way. We'll get through this next year and hopefully 2021 will be better. But you know, we have a lot of tenacity here in Newfoundland and Labrador, and business people are very strong and very innovative, as you've seen this summer. So we're just going to have to tough it out this year, and hopefully the federal government will continue to provide the supports that they have. For us at Destination St. John's, that's the only reason that we're still existing, and that will take us through this year and maybe part of next year, but we're already looking to next year.
Okay, Kathy Duke, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
From the St. John's Convention Center to the International Airport, I'm joined now by Peter Avery, the CEO. So Mr. Avery, we found out last night this Atlantic bubble looks like it's going to last for quite some time. What are your thoughts?
Well, obviously what distinguishes us from the rest of the country, we have much more travel restrictions than the rest of the country has in place. So I think what the Prime Minister said last night hit home for many people. It makes it personal, saying that people, you know, won't get home for Thanksgiving and may not for Christmas. Because our travel restrictions are more restricted here in the province, I think it hits home more for us.
Now, you and I have spoken already in the past about the impacts here on the airport as far as personnel go. What are your feelings now that it really looks as though with the second wave on the mainland, I mean, we might be living with this Atlantic bubble for a long time?
Well, certainly more concerning. We're obviously a user, passenger-driven business like any other, private, not-for-profit. So it certainly makes us have pause for thought and wonder about our future.
So many other businesses and industries and sectors are affected by COVID, many of them asking various levels of government for assistance. What do you need, and is it more than the last time we spoke?
Certainly our financial projections continue to deteriorate with all the different things that we hear with increasing cases, that the travel restrictions may remain in place for the foreseeable future. We still need assistance from the federal government, obviously, and what that means is the more assistance we get, the less our losses are, and hopefully the less impact it will have on air travel in the future.
Mr. Avery, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, here's an interesting air travel fact, just to give you an idea of how big of a hit we're taking. Over the year, the airport should see 1.5 million people. This year, because of COVID-19, just 300,000 travelers are estimated to pass through. And the last time we had that low number of travelers using this province's major airport was back in 1975. Well, here's an interesting story. Maybe dogs will be able to sniff out a second wave. There's a pilot project in Finland to detect COVID-19.
What we've seen in our research is that the dogs actually will find them about 5 days before they get any clinical symptoms.
The dogs work alongside more conventional testing methods at Helsinki's Maine International Airport. The science so far is incomplete, so passengers are asked to volunteer for the test. Participants wipe their necks with gauze, which is put into a can in another room for the dog. Results are immediate, and regular swab tests are conducted to confirm positive results. federal government tabled legislation today to transition people away from the Canada Emergency Response Benefit. Canadians who were already eligible for employment insurance will move to that program when CERB winds down this weekend.
Was put in place at a time when we basically shut down the economy and asked people to stay home. And we didn't know then what was coming, and we didn't know what we didn't know. I'd say now, as we move into economic recovery, we are much better placed to navigate our support in a more sophisticated way. So we've had time, for example, to improve our EI system to the point where 3/4 of the people who are currently on CERB can transition seamlessly next week to EI. So they have all the benefits of the EI system, whether it be access to training, working while on claim, access to sub-plans, all the things that made CERB a little bit clunky, to tell you the truth.
Now, people who don't qualify for EI can apply for new recovery benefits under Bill C-2. It provides for a 10-day sick leave benefit, something the NDP had demanded in order to support the Liberals in a confidence vote. Well, now to the U.S., where top Republican Senator Mitch McConnell is promising a smooth transfer of power if Donald Trump loses the presidential election. This comes a day after Trump himself refused to commit to that. The CBC's Ellen Morrow reports from Washington.
Jeers for President Trump as he paid respects to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, protesters chanting, "Vote him out." If that happens, President Trump last night refused to commit to a peaceful transfer of power, a pillar of democracy.
Well, we're going to have to see what happens. You know that I've been complaining very strongly about the ballots, and the ballots are a disaster.
The president disparaging mail-in voting, casting doubt on the results more than a month before Election Day.
And we'll have a very peaceful, there won't be a transfer, frankly, there'll be a continuation. The ballots are out of control.
The comments drew a quick rebuke from the Democrats.
What country are we in? Look, he says the most irrational things. I don't know what to say about it, but it does surprise me.
Even Republicans distanced themselves from the president. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell assuring a peaceful transition, just as there has been every 4 years since 1792. Others tried to clean up the president's words.
It will be peaceful. I know you want to create a hypothetical, and that's good for you, but no questions, no qualms, no concerns. It's going to be peaceful.
This instance just the latest of the president sowing uncertainty around the election, previously claiming the only way he'd lose is if the vote was rigged. President Trump again questioned the integrity of mail-in voting this afternoon, calling the ballots so many Americans will be relying on in the pandemic a scam. Meanwhile, the FBI director said today the agency has not seen any evidence of widespread voter fraud by mail or otherwise. Ellen Morrow, CBC News, Washington.
The protesters took to the streets in several U.S. cities last night after a grand jury chose not to indict the police officers who fired the shots that killed Breonna Taylor. The black woman died during a botched drug raid in Louisville, and that happened last March.
We tired of y'all doing this to us. You're doing too many. Enough is enough.
Violence erupted at several of those protests, including the one in Louisville. Gunshots rang out when police closed in on the protesters and ordered the crowd to disperse. 2 police officers were wounded. Only one of the 3 officers who burst into Taylor's apartment in March faces charges, and they are unrelated to the young woman's death. Brett Hankeson faces 3 counts of wanton endangerment for firing his weapon into the homes of Taylor's neighbors. To Asia now, where police in Indonesia are searching for a death row prisoner who tunneled his way out of his cell into the sewer system and fled the prison. The 53-year-old inmate was sentenced to death in 2017 for trafficking 135 kilos of crystal meth. Now, the investigation into his escape revealed a 30-meter-long tunnel from his cell, and there is surveillance video of him exiting onto a roadway. Authorities are looking into whether he was somehow assisted by prison officials. The convicted man had escaped custody before when he broke through a bathroom wall at a police detention center before being transferred to that prison.
Welcome back. COVID-19 continues to cast a shadow over Tokyo's plans to finally host the delayed 2020 Olympic Games next year. But the resumption of some major international sporting events, including the Tour de France, is being hailed as a sign the Games will proceed.
We could and can see that sport is coming back, which showed to us and showed to the world we can organize safe sport events even without a vaccine.
The IOC, Japanese officials, and organizers are working toward a late July 2021 start for the postponed 2020 Summer Games. To cover the billion-dollar cost of the delay, organizers want to see venues at full capacity with no travel restrictions. About 11,000 athletes are expected to be in Tokyo for the Olympics. With the Beijing 2022 Winter Games slated just months later, Tokyo organizers say further postponement is impossible.
a beautiful evening out there. Here's a look at the current temperature. 16 degrees in St. John's, 13 in Corner Brook. And as we head through the night tonight, only going to dip a few more degrees. But by tomorrow morning, it is looking beautiful. Temperatures will be in the double digits. Maybe a few cloud cover going to happen along the west coast. And then we've got the potential for some flurries for Lab City, sitting around the 1 degree mark. And as we head into the afternoon, we're looking at those temperatures climbing into the double digits. 17 degrees in St. John's. However, those winds will be breezy across the board with gusts anywhere from 50 to 60 kilometers per hour, and then up through Labrador. Unfortunately, going to hang on to those chilly temperatures for you in Lab City, so the potential for some flurries. Otherwise, we'll be back up into those double digits.
Love the look at that forecast.
Yep.
Well, a few weeks back, we told you about Gurdeep Pander. Like many Canadians, his business, a studio in Whitehorse, was a casualty of COVID.
Yeah, so the social media sensation took his talents online, where he shares his love of Bhangra dancing.
Yeah, CBC Arts teamed up with Gurdeep this week to bring you this boost of energy. It's a celebration for the first day of fall, so we're going to let Gurdeep have the last word. So good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Hey Canada, the fall is here. It's time to celebrate and it's time for dancing.